Hey guys, thanks for checking out the video. As you read the title, today I'm installing the H&R lowering springs on my car. You're probably going to hear this a lot, but they're the same ones that were on my 15 WRX. They rode a little rough, which is to be expected with just lowering springs and not having any adjustability, but they weren't terrible, and it's maybe just like a temporary solution till one day maybe I'll get coils. But I mean, they'll be all right for this application. I think they'll be all right for now. I bought them real cheap. I got them for 120 bucks. So I got nothing to lose. They are used. They only got like 13,000 miles or something like that on them, so it won't be too bad. But I'm on my way right now to the auto store to rent out some spring compressors so I can compress the stock spring to take them off. So once I get back, I'll get with you again. Alright guys, I'm back home. I got the spring compressor, so I'm actually going to do one side at a time. I'm going to do this side, and then I'm going to back the car out, spin it around, and back it in, do the other side. It's tough getting in between the wall and the car there, so let's get started. Alright, here's the final result of how the car is sitting after the springs. You can see it sits almost perfect in my opinion. It really does sit perfect. It doesn't rub. It's not too low. It's not too high. I think it sits perfect. You can just see, I mean, if this was a wider wheel, it would come out and probably almost be rubbing right back here. But I don't think it would, because I had 18s. I did have a slightly smaller sidewall on my 18s, but I think if this was a wider wheel, it would definitely be a perfect fitment all the way around. Don't mind the super dirty tires here, but I definitely love the fitment. I think it looks great. Alright guys, so I'm here to give you a little review on these springs so far. So obviously I didn't want to go too crazy with a full install video because they're not, there's a lot of videos out there already on how to do these, and I didn't want to take up too much of your time. So I did a quick little edit, something that'd be a little fun to watch. Just like a time lapse of me doing the one side. I went ahead, obviously did the whole thing. A couple things to note though. When you're installing these, you're definitely going to want a friend's help on the fronts. For maybe coilovers, you could maybe get away with doing it alone. But when you are doing the springs, the factory shock, even with the lowering spring, is just not short enough to get it up in there, bolt it down, and get it to line up with the steering knuckle. So where it bolts fast, there's 2 bolts on the bottom that go onto the steering knuckle, you will have a nightmare time getting that back on yourself. So I had trouble with that, but everything else was super easy, super smooth. But I will be honest with you, when I had these on the silver car, I had no issues with them at all. They were a little rough, obviously, because they're lowering springs, but as far as quality, like noise and stuff like that, they were fine. But with these, man, that cricket's really loud. I feel like I'm yelling over it. But with these, I put them on, and they've apparently been used for about 12,000 miles or something like that, some lower mileage. So for being that low mileage, I would think they'd be pretty good. But I put them on, and they're making some noise. Sometimes when I turn, the passenger side will squeak, and sometimes going over bumps, the front will kind of make like a thudding noise, like they're not settled the way they're supposed to be, like they're not sitting right. So I actually pulled the one side off, just double checked everything to make sure everything was put together the way it was supposed to be, and everything was fine. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but aside from that, they're riding fine. They only make noise when you go over a bump, and you know, sometimes when you're turning, it'll kind of make like a noise. I tried to get a video of it, but I couldn't really do it. I tried multiple times, just didn't work out. So no big deal though. It is what it is. But yeah, so that's that, guys. If you have any questions, just drop them in the comments. I think at some point I'm going to end up getting coilovers. This is just like a temporary thing to lower the car for now. Probably like in the spring or something I'll get coilovers. But for now, this will work. The car sits great. I mean, I love how the car sits. It looks great. It's a perfect fitment for me. If I had wider wheels on, which I did on the silver car, it literally sits perfectly flush. And it's perfect for me. You don't scrape on everything. So, alright guys, that's going to be it for today's video. I appreciate you watching. Feel free to leave me feedback, and I'll see you guys in the next video.